what we're going to be talking about this afternoon. Okay, there we go. How are you guys doing today? Hope things are going well for you. Get started in just a minute here, guys. Okay, perfect. Audio should be working. Apologize for the longer pre-stream there. I needed a moment to get set up here. I just arrived home from work. All right, let's jump in here. So first and foremost, we do now have winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories up across a very large portion of West Michigan. I was really surprised by the eastern extent of these winter weather advisories over here for Calhoun, Jackson, and Ingham and Eaton counties. I was really surprised by the eastward extent of those. But we will go ahead and cover all of these really quickly here. But bottom line is winter storm warning in effect from Allegan County northward all the way up towards Ludington along the US 10 corridor there. This only includes our lakeshore counties. Everywhere else in this purple color here is a winter weather advisory. So let's go ahead and break it down a little bit further here. What is happening here? One moment. Let me restart this. All right. So here is our winter storm warning. I want to preface before we jump into looking at the specific products, there is a lot of variation depending on where you are at within these products. So pay attention. We're going to go through each county here very carefully because there are a lot of varying different snowfall totals, different temperatures in play here. The only thing that is pretty consistent across all these products, as far as I am aware, is that the wind speeds are pretty similar. So, but regardless, let's go ahead and take a look at the winter storm warning for Lake and Mason counties. Okay, this winter storm warning is for Lake and Mason counties only. Heavy snow expected. Total snow accumulations between 8 and 14 inches and locally higher amounts. And then winds gusting as high as 35 miles per hour, causing blowing and drifting snow. This is in effect from 10 p.m. this evening until 7 p.m. Thursday evening. That's the other thing that is going to be different among these products is the timing. This is a complex lake effect snow system, so the timings across all these different winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories are going to be a little bit different. For Lake and Mason County, impacts roads, especially bridges and overpasses, are going to become slick and hazardous. Visibility and road conditions may change rapidly over short distances in lake effect snow. Travel could be very difficult to impossible. All right. Travel could be very difficult to impossible. Hazard conditions could impact the Wednesday morning and evening commutes. Let's take a look at the winter storm warning for Muskegon and Oceana counties. Pretty similar, a little bit different though. Total snow accumulations only between 6 and 10 inches with locally higher amounts. That is still substantial, okay? So just because you're not in that 14-inch range with locally higher amounts doesn't mean you should neglect this winter storm warning. 6 to 10 inches with locally higher amounts, that can still cause some pretty significant impacts, hence the winter storm warning here. And then similarly, winds gusting as high as 35 miles per hour, causing blowing and drifting snow. This is also in effect from 10 p.m. this evening until 7 p.m. Thursday evening, with very similar impacts there as we saw above, travel could be very difficult here. It does not include impossible language for this particular winter storm warning. So again, that's just going to be, it's going to be a little bit less severe here in Muskegon and Oceana counties as compared to a little bit further north for Lake and Mason counties there. Let's look at Ottawa and Allegan counties for the winter storm warning. Allegan and Ottawa counties are under heavy snow expected. Total snow accumulations between 4 and 9 inches. Okay, a little bit less again, but still significant. Not anything that you should ignore. Again, 9 inches of snow can cause plenty of impacts, plenty of problems out on the roads, and then you throw those 35-mile-per-hour wind gusts in there, and the blowing and drifting snow that causes, and we get these slick, hazardous road conditions that are noted down here in the impacts section of this of the warning here. Give me 1 second here, guys. Come on. There we go. Sorry, having a little bit of an issue here. Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. So those are our winter storm warnings. Zooming out a little bit further, we do have winter storm warnings up here in the National Weather Service Gaylord County warning area. That's out of our coverage area, so we are not going to focus on that. Let's jump down all the way to the Michigan-Indiana state line quickly and talk about the National Weather Service in northern Indiana. So these 3 counties right here, the National Weather Service in northern Indiana has issued winter weather advisories for Berrien County, Cass County, and St. Joseph County. Let's take a look at these. So these are in effect from 7 a.m. Wednesday. So here's those different time frames we were talking about. 7 a.m. Wednesday morning until 1 p.m. Thursday afternoon. So a little bit of a shorter window, a little bit of a later start, a little bit of an earlier ending time there. Lake effect snow expected. Total snow accumulations between 2 and 4 inches and isolated higher amounts possible. The thing that's different here, 2 to 4 inch snowfall totals is significantly lower than what we were just seeing in those winter storm warnings up to the south, or up to the north, excuse me, but can still obviously cause impacts, hence the winter weather advisory. 4 inches of snow is plenty to cause some impacts. Caden, do you think Olivet would close Thursday? We're going to talk about school closings here in just a minute, but I want to cover these winter weather products quickly, as these are kind of the big story right now. So we'll get into snow day predictions here in just a little bit, so hang tight, and we'll take a close look at all of the schools in our coverage area here. So from 7 a.m. Wednesday to 1 p.m. Thursday, winter weather advisory in effect for 2 to 4 inches of snow with isolated higher amounts across Cass County, Berrien County, and St. Joseph County on the Michigan-Indiana state line there. The winds will gust as high as 40 miles per hour here, causing blowing and drifting snow as compared to 35 miles per hour up to the north, where these pink winter storm warnings are that we just took a look at. Moving back to the National Weather Service in Grand Rapids, their coverage area here, let's take a look at this southern row of counties. This is for Barrie, Kalamazoo, Kent, and Van Buren counties. So this is including cities like South Haven, Kalamazoo, Portage, Grand Rapids, obviously, and then let's get a couple of counties here in Barrie County, Hastings and Irving. So we'll jump back to this here. Winds gusting as high as 35 miles per hour and total snow accumulations of 4 to 8 inches. So these counties, Barrie, Kalamazoo, Kent, and Van Buren, are all borderline winter storm warnings. 8 inches is typically the criteria for winter storm warnings. However, and again, I'm not speaking for the Weather Service here, this is my personal opinion, so don't take this as gospel, but because of the fail modes that we have seen with the last several winter storm warnings that have been issued, I think the Weather Service is being a little bit conservative here because this is yet another lake effect snow event, and these are notorious for being very hard to predict. It really depends on where those lake effect snow bands persist, where they set up, and how far inland they can reach. And then again, it's really about how long they stay in that area. So short distances, visibility and road conditions, you see here, may change rapidly over short distances in lake effect snow. Same principle applies to overall snowfall totals. So I think they're erring on the side of caution here just because we've seen a lot less impacts along the 131 corridor here as compared to out here on the US 31 corridor with the last several events, even though we've had winter storm warnings in effect along 131. So the area forecast discussion from the Grand Rapids Forecast Office, and I won't sit here and read it out for you guys because there's a lot of technical terms in there, but it does state that future upgrades for these counties are possible. So Van Buren, Kalamazoo, Barry, and Kent counties, winter storm warning upgrades are possible for these counties here. And again, that's just because it is that borderline 8 inches of snow. They want to wait a little bit to get some more confidence to see where those lake effect snow bands are going to set up, but they are holding off on that for now, again, just because of those previous fail modes that we've seen come to fruition over the last little bit. Taking a look at these two winter weather advisories, this is for Osceola and Newaygo counties. So this is including Fremont, Reed City, Newaygo, Tustin, and Everett there. Those are some of those the cities within Osceola and Newaygo counties that are under this winter weather advisory. Total snow accumulations between 2 and 7 inches, highest west. So that's saying that the areas probably west of 131 there in Osceola counties, and then primarily west of M37, those are the areas where the highest snowfall totals. So that's where you're going to be looking more for that 5 to 7 inch range, and then 2 to 5 typically elsewhere in those counties. But very similarly, winds gusting as high as 35 miles per hour. This is in effect from 7 a.m. Wednesday morning until 7 p.m. Eastern time Thursday evening. So once again, a different time frame. Okay, so wherever you're living within these within our coverage area, if you're under any of these winter products, make sure that you're taking a look at them. Open up your weather app on your phone and see what time your county is under whatever product, what time it starts and what time it ends. Let's take a look at these counties over here. So this is going to include all of these counties along US 127. It's going to include Calhoun, Jackson, Eaton, Ingham, Ionia, and forgive me, this is drawing a blank on this county here. Maple Rapids, St. John's, DeWitt. Not sure why I'm drawing a blank on that right now, but I am drawing a blank on it, and I apologize. But all of those counties there, this is going to be total snow accumulations between 2 and 4 inches and winds gusting as high as 35 miles per hour, 7 a.m. Wednesday to 7 a.m. Thursday morning for those counties there. And I just want to make sure that Ionia County is not different. Yep, okay, very good. So all of those purple counties there, Calhoun, Jackson, Eaton, Ingham, Ionia, and whatever this county is here. I'm going to look it up. Hold on. That's going to drive me crazy. Sorry, guys. I am really good with the counties down here, and I'm drawing a blank on this one for whatever reason. Gratiot. Nope. That's too many. Clinton County. So Clinton County, you guys are the other county there that I could not come up with. Do apologize about that. So that's an overview of our winter weather products that have been issued this afternoon. let's go ahead and jump into what we think for snow day predictions for tomorrow and Thursday. So the first step in these snow day predictions is looking at obviously computer weather models. Obviously, we're interested in total snowfall amounts for what is happening at the time when school closures, when the superintendents for the districts or whatever the representative is that's responsible for that. And typically I say anywhere from 5 to 6 a.m. is when they're making that decision. So I will flip back and forth between these two frames on all the models and just see kind of what they are thinking for snowfall, as well as a couple of other things at this time. So this is the HRRR model. And as you can see, the HRRR model is largely focused near Muskegon here. And it's generally saying about 5 to 6 inches there, right along the lake shore. And then we also have a pocket of 5 inches up here closer to Ludington as well. And that's at 6 a.m. Pretty similar at 5 a.m. So we're going to go with this. I'm going to lock in my frame here for each model. So this is a different model. I don't put a lot of stock in the NAM for lake effect snow events, but I do want to take a look at it. Yeah, really not anything super surprising there. I hate that it does that. Not every model has local settings, local zoom, if you will. Thanks for that. That's not what I wanted. So this is a global model. It's obviously not as high resolution as those other models we were looking at. But this is continuing to highlight higher snowfall totals there up near Ludington. Same thing. It's obviously not as pronounced, but it's continuing to highlight those higher snowfall totals up to the northwest. So the other thing I'm looking at as well is what time the snow starts and what time it ends. if it's going to start snowing at 7 p.m. tonight, for example, but it's going to be done by 2 a.m., that gives, plow trucks 3 hours to clear roads. So that's something we take into account as well. But yeah, we're really not going to see a lot of school closures tomorrow. Thursday, I think some schools have better chances of closing. Let's take a look at the HREF as well. I doubt there's anything here. Yeah, not anything that makes it inland at all for tomorrow. All right. So we're really going to focus on this. Jay, I unfortunately am not fluent in Spanish there, so I see something about New York and New Jersey. But I can say that we are definitely not focusing on New York and New Jersey here. So it looks like it snows pretty consistently there across Muskegon and Mason and Lake counties there for pretty consistently through the night. So that's going to allow for snow to accumulate on the roadways. And so at this point, I will go in and I will just start an initial sort of thinking, if you will, an initial map of sort of what my thoughts are. Oops. Oops. And again, this is all preliminary. I'm not saying that this is a final prediction or anything like that. Oops. We'll probably sneak this down a little bit. Yeah. All right. And so that's going to be, again, that's going to be my preliminary thinking. So the other thing that we have to start to look at, and this is not, it doesn't weigh as heavily into these predictions as what the models are showing at 5 a.m. But we do take it into account when we're doing these outlooks, is what I like to call preemptive or precautionary closings. So just because, like, let's take Grand Rapids, for example. At 5 a.m., they have less than an inch of snow, or modeled a less than an inch of snow. But as we go through the day, so there's 6, 7, 8, 9, we're approaching the noon hour, we have 1 inch of snow. And then at dismissal time, they're ranging at about that 3-inch mark. So they would probably not close. But let's say they had 14 inches of snow modeled at 3 p.m. Obviously, we have to think about that a little bit when we're doing these outlooks. So that's just something to bear in mind as well. As the snow event continues to draw on, we also have to think about schools that are going to close because they know the weather is going to get worse. And then we also sort of will note the areas that have the greatest likelihood of early dismissals as well. So going back to our map here, they will not get as high of probabilities, obviously, as the areas up here that are going to be experiencing that heavy snowfall right in the morning as kids would be heading out the door to school. But we do indeed note the potential in these outlooks as well. So I'm going to go back full screen with this here. Oops. Where is my... Aaron, thanks for the super chat. Really appreciate it. That's a great question. How much do we use the Winter Storm Severity Index? That's what he's talking about there. Let's pull that up really quickly so that we can show everyone what that is. Go ahead and zoom in on the Grand Rapids area here. Let's zoom in a little bit on this. All right, and so this is the Winter Storm Severity Index. This is a product issued by the National Weather Service, and it is a sort of cumulative or composite look at all the different factors that come into winter storms. So we're looking at snow amount, the load of the snow, ice accumulations, the risk for flash freeze, the risk for blowing snow, and the risk for ground blizzard conditions. So it takes all of that, compiles it into one sort of product, if you will, and that is this product. So there's a scale here, as you can see on the right hand side of your screen, that denotes these gray areas here as winter weather areas, meaning there's winter driving conditions expected, so you need to drive carefully. It goes up from there to minor impacts, few inconveniences to daily life, use caution while driving. And then from there we go up to moderate impacts, expect disruptions. Hazardous driving, use extra caution. Closures and disruptions to infrastructures may occur. From there, we go up to major and extreme impacts, and those kind of speak for themselves there. The criteria is there on the right-hand side of your screen. And I'll zoom in a little bit more so that folks can read that if they wish. So looking at the index for the West Michigan area, generally we're just going to be seeing minor impacts. Let's look at tomorrow specifically, since that is what we are focusing on. Generally just going to see minor impacts or winter weather areas here in these gray shaded areas, minor impacts within the yellow areas, and then we do have a few areas of moderate impacts expected near the Holland area, a little bit south of Holland, and a little bit north of Holland. And then as well up here towards the Ludington area and right in between Manistee and Ludington, west of the US 131 corridor there, and east of Grant Highway. So, but generally speaking, tomorrow we're not going to see super crazy storm severity impacts or storm severity index values. That changes a little bit when we look at day 1 through 3 combined. So at some point, we could, over the next 1 to 3 days, we could see those major impacts start to filter in there up near the Ludington area, from about Manistee to Ludington. And then we have a little bit more widespread major or moderate impacts across the Grand Rapids area and then across more of the lakeshore. So in terms of answering your question about is it reliable or can it be trusted, this is a relatively new product. I believe this is still experimental, so it shouldn't be taken as gospel per se, but it does give you a decent idea of all of the different factors that come into winter storms, and what can sort of be expected. It doesn't really list specific impacts or specific hazards, if you will. But if you get on this map and you see extreme impacts over a widespread area, that's something to note. So I don't look at it super much, or a lot, I should say. But I do occasionally glance at this. And like I said, I believe this is still an experimental product. So not something that you want to focus on too much, but it is a good tool to have. It is a good way to sort of gauge what the composite or what the cumulative risks are. So, but again, not something that I focus on a whole lot. Jumping back to models here and what sort of they're thinking as the day goes on, you can see we get a lot more snow accumulation here, especially across Muskegon County there. We're up to 14-15 inches there modeled. Goodness, excuse me, on this particular model. And then we have high totals approaching double digits further north as well. So this is definitely something that I'm not going to ignore. Again, I'm not taking this model as gospel, but it's not something that I can really ignore either. So, so we will go ahead and add some risks in for that impact as well. Generally have it pretty well covered, I think, here. I do need to extend this out towards the Grand Rapids area a little bit more as well. Then I also need to note this area that has developed down near Kalamazoo. So let me get my color layer back here. I'm not sure that I trust this a whole lot. So I don't think I'm going to give it as high of a probability as some of these other areas, but oops. right. Oops, I just lost my... What hour is this? 25? 24. I'll lock this in here. I am going to add a area of higher potential there for far western Muskegon County, just because of those absolutely crazy modeled snow accumulations there right south of Muskegon. And it's not going to be a super large area, but I do feel that this is worth noting. Got some pretty high totals there. South of Ludington even as well. Probably going to fill those in as purple just because of the chance for those preemptive closings, especially right along west of US 31 there. And so again, largest potential for early dismissals is going to be right in this light blue shaded area. And then between Ludington and Muskegon along US 31 there, and then across this blue range, I think the greatest potential for snow days is going to be pretty well centered on Muskegon County. Just looking at this one particular model, I think that the I think that looking at the area forecast discussion for just a moment would be good as well. So let's pull that up. So this is the hazardous weather outlook. I just want to, especially closer to the lakeshore, roads will become snow covered and slick by the Wednesday morning commute. Yeah, that's about what I would expect there. Let's look at the area forecast discussion. I've read this already, but I want to review it quickly. And again, don't feel like you have to understand this. There's a lot of technical lingo in here, and times are in Zulu time, so don't pay attention to this. I'm just reading this to make sure that my outlook is accurate here. Complex lake effect event over the next 48 hours. Various features. Shifting bands over different areas. Again, that's why those winter weather products that we went over at the start of the stream are so different. And snowfall totals are so variable. All right. Okay, so I want to take a look at northern Allegan County. From Grand Haven to northern Allegan. And then, yeah, Mason County is where we've been really looking at. Okay, yeah. So I'm feeling pretty comfortable with this so far. Again, I want to look at Grand Haven, which is right in this area here, down towards northern Allegan County. Not seeing a lot on the HRRR model. And again, this is not the only thing that I look at. But there is, yeah, so I would expect that they're talking about this band right here, ranging from 4 to 5 inches. We are going to go ahead and note that as well. What does that look like at 5 a.m.? Yeah, not anything that I'd be concerned about super much overnight. Oops, I can just snag it right from here. But I think that to be safe, I'm just going to fill this in. Right through there. And let's also look at the official snowfall forecast. That have come out this afternoon. When was this issued? Just a little bit ago. All right. Fortunately, this is through Thursday, so I'm not paying super close attention to this, but and again, these are also experimental, but they've been doing a really good job so far. Okay, so for Wednesday in particular, I think that this covers our snow day chances pretty well. Just gonna sort of add a little gradient here. I think that covers snow day potential for tomorrow morning specifically fairly well. Thursday, I think that there's the potential for some more widespread snow days across the area. Aaron, thank you for what you do. The transparency is appreciated because not all Michigan weather YouTubers are like this. Yeah, absolutely. We really appreciate it. Michigan Storm Chasers. Hey guys, how are you? Hope you guys are doing well. Good to see you here. It has been crazy start to the winter season. I was just talking to Owen a little bit ago or a couple days ago, and this is like the most active start to a winter season that I can remember. I mean, we've had 3 winter storm watches, 4 winter storm warnings, and it's only December 10th. I mean, we average about 3 winter storm watches a year, I think, on average for the greater Grand Rapids area. So this is definitely crazy. And again, really good to see you guys in here. Been checking out your guys' forecast as well. Always appreciate what you guys do. So I think that I'm going to go with this for our day 1 snow day prediction. And obviously our larger threats here are going to be snow. Oops, that's the wrong color. It's going to be snow. Oh no, what am I doing? In the wrong layer here. Our largest threats are going to be snow. But again, the snow's not really going to ramp up until Wednesday, and especially Wednesday night. So I'm not going to go overboard on the threat categories here, or the threat levels, excuse me. We're also looking at a little bit of wind potential, but not overly excessive for Wednesday morning and through the day on Wednesday. Again, that's really going to ramp up Wednesday evening into Thursday morning. So I think I'm comfortable with this. So I'm probably going to wrap up the stream here quickly. We'll get this posted online. We'll get it out on social media. And I'm also going to get a day 2 snow day prediction out for you all as well. And that's going to be available to our wonderful community supporters over on Patreon at patreon.com/West Michigan Weather or at www.westmichiganweather.net/donate. All of the options are there as well. And then for any of you in our Discord, if you're server boosting or anything like that, you also get special early access to those day 2 snow day predictions as well. And again, those day 2 snow day predictions are probably going to be much more impressive than what you're seeing here. I know for those of you in this stream here and you're under this winter storm warning, I know you were probably expecting a little bit more for the snow day prediction for today, but unfortunately, when schools are making that decision tomorrow morning, there's really not going to be a whole lot of snow on the ground yet unless you are in these purple areas here from about Ludington to Muskegon, and especially there in Muskegon. These other areas here are really just in place on the off chance that those schools opt to close as a result of being cautious because they know that the weather is going to get worse, but that's probably not overly likely. Crystal, South Haven, yeah, I for tomorrow, I don't think you guys will close at all. Thursday, you guys might have a little bit of a better chance for a snow day, but I don't foresee great chances for you guys there tomorrow. So thanks again for all of you who tuned in. We are going to wrap up the stream here so that I can get this out on our website and on our social media platforms as well. And again, stay tuned for that day 2 snow day prediction that'll be accompanying this graphic here. And again, that's probably going to be a little bit more impressive than this particular one. Those are available to our community supporters over on our website at www.westmichiganweather.net. So thanks again, everyone, for joining here this afternoon. Stay safe, be careful driving, enjoy your snow day if you have one tomorrow there in Muskegon in the Ludington areas. But otherwise, you guys are in for a little bit of a rough afternoon commute across the remainder of the area if your schools do not close, and then more widespread snow days expected for Thursday morning. So stay tuned for the latest and stay safe. Thanks for tuning in, guys.